All good, yeah? Sorry for that technical fault, right? Okay, so welcome guys for the operational case study session at Nanaska. So today it will be a very quick introductory session where we try to understand what the case study looks like, right? What is expected from you and what we will be doing in class. Basically, what we'll be doing together in class over the course of the next 6 to 7 weeks, right? So when is your exam? Your exam is in August, most probably by the first week of August. Dates would have already been published by now. So we have almost, right, maybe the entire month of July. Then we have about 2 weeks of June, and then about 1 week of August. So altogether, you might have about 7 weeks to prepare yourself for the case study examination. So what are we going to do over the course of these 7 weeks? What is the effort you need to put in? Plus, what will we be discussing in class together is what I'm going to take you through in this introductory session. So from next Sunday onwards, we'll be kickstarting our sessions, right? We'll be starting off with the pre-scene analysis, a discussion on the pre-scene. So now this is the very first case study that most of you are facing, right? I hope I'm right? In the SEMA curriculum, this is the very first case study you all are facing. Can I get a quick heads up? I'm sure if you are from the OTQ group, you can say you're from OTQ. If you are from FLP, you can say you're from FLP. Can I get a quick understanding of you all in terms of which pathway you're following? Yeah, majority from the FLP. Just a few, one or two OTQ. What about the others? Right. So majority coming from the FLP pathway, right? So you would have by now you would have started working on your 3 subjects which you have to complete on your system, which is E1, F1, and P1, right? So those who are coming from the OTQ pathway, you might have to do your examinations. You might have already done them, right? And those who are from the FLP, I'm sure you would be doing your LMS work in terms of completing the 3 modules for your E1, F1, and P1, right? So irrespective of which pathway you're coming through, you'll be getting the same exam paper. You have to understand that. So in that, we are going to understand how the examiner is going to structure your exam. What are the areas that you have to be more familiar around, right? And the strategies that you've got to understand, the strategies that you've got to learn, the tactics to handle the examiner's questions, and scenarios. So that's what we are going to learn throughout this course. So in that, we'll be doing a lot of activities, a lot of practical work, right? A lot of theoretical work. So don't worry about your theory knowledge, because we will have refreshing sessions for your E1, F1, and P1 as well. So I'll take you through that, right? So to start off, so I'm Mark. So I'll be taking you through the entire course of study for OCS along with Mr. Channa and Ali, right? So most of the time I'll be taking you through the sessions. Ali will also be joining in mostly for the refresh theory sessions, and maybe to give you a hands-on on the business writing skills that you've got to have when it comes to answering questions. So this is how so these are the members of the panel, and this is what we will be doing in class, right? Know your pre-scene. So that's basically the pre-scene analysis that we'll be starting off with. So this will be a very summarized document. So remember, what I mean by the pre-scene is, for your case study exam, SEMA has published the pre-scene document. So let me share that with you so that you can start working from today onwards. So SEMA has already shared a preparation document. We call it the pre-scene for your reference, right? Now, all your questions, all the scenarios will be based around that particular pre-scene, particular company. So it's a company, right? It gives you a storyline about the introduction of a company, its operations, how does it work, what are the products it sells, what are the financial statements, to things like that. So it will be a very detailed document covering the operations, strategy, products, financials, some industry related information of the company we are looking at. So I have shared that document with you on the chat box. You can download it and open it, right? So that's called your know your pre-scene. So your pre-scene document is quite lengthy and long. So what we have done is we have summarized it into a few slides along with some visuals for you to get some better understanding. So that's going to be our starting point. That's our pre-scene analysis that we're going to start immediately from next week onwards. So we might take about a maximum of 2 weeks to go through the pre-scene analysis. That's going to be your foundation. That's going to be your foundation. Without knowing the pre-scene, yes, it's difficult to address the exam questions. So therefore, it's critical that we get to know what the pre-scene is about, right? The key areas, and that we have a comprehensive understanding of what the pre-scene has to be. So your case study, right? For your case, the case will be the pre-scene document, right? And unseen is what you see on the exam day. Now, that is the questions, the scenarios examiner develop based on the pre-scene given to you. So we will also be sharing a lot of unseens with you, a lot of mock papers, right? Through which you get some hands-on experience as to how the examiner would be asking questions on the exam day, right? So that's one, know your pre-scene. Next, we have know your industry. Now, what is know your industry? KYI speaks about your company, your competitors, your SWOT, your PESTEL, regulatory elements, use of technology in the industry, and also towards the end of this document, we have given a real world company that is very similar to your pre-scene company. So does anybody know what is our pre-scene document? Wow, what is our pre-scene organization? What is the industry we are going to look at? We are going to study. Anyone? Anybody knows the name of the company? Oh, of course, yes. Industries or the company is about manufacturing bread and bread rolls. Very good. Name of the company is Halfpenny. So the pre-scene or the your company will be Halfpenny. You'll be learning end-to-end about Halfpenny's processes. Then the industry is the baker industry, bread and bread rolls, right? Good. So in this element, know your industry, I would say it's not something that you have to study. Why we give KYI is that you get a better understanding of what the business environment is like, right? You might not need to know the technicalities of the baker industry. No, right? You just need to know, okay, what are the trends of the industry? What are the challenges of the industry? What are the opportunities of the industry that we could capitalize on, right? Then you have a real world company that is very similar to Halfpenny. So you can do a study about that company. It's Bimbo Bakeries that we have included in the KYI. So you can go through their websites, social media pages, see how the customer journey is when you're trying to purchase online, if it's available, right? So we give a real world taste as well, so that you are able to understand and see exactly when we are trying to really sell this product out there in the market, what should we do? What can I do to improve efficiency? How is this product delivered? How is the transportation and the logistics happening, right? So that's the purpose of giving you the KYI, not to study, but for you to enhance, widen your understanding about the industry. And also maybe here and there, yes, you can use those jargon, you can use those facts in your answers to support what you have proposed, what you have recommended to the examiner, what you have recommended to the examiner as well. So that's the purpose of the KYI. Then we give you a financial mock, mostly on your F1 subject areas. It's a standard mock. You'll have the paper and the answer covering almost all the accounting standards that you have to know for your OCS. Then you'll have reality mocks in the exam engine. So our exam engine is very similar to what you face on the exam day, right? So you will have to do mock papers. You'll have to practice mock papers on the exam engine. So you'll have about 10 mock papers to do over the course of 7 weeks. So that's the challenge. That's the task that we are up to, right? So we've got to have, we will have very tight deadlines, right? I want everybody's 100% commitment to this. Otherwise, it's going to be a quite challenging task when it comes to getting the mocks done on time, especially. what most of the students happen is, the problem is you pile up things till the last moment and then you end up doing nothing, right? Or you do everything at once, nothing really goes into your mind. So therefore timeliness is critical when we are attempting mock paper. So I will give you targets. This week you need to attempt 2 papers, last week 3 papers. Likewise, I give you targets, right? And you have to honor it. So you guys will be separated into groups where once you get on board, and for each group there will be a supervisor allocated from Nanaska's end who will be following up on your mock attempting status, right? So that's something critical, because that has a very positive, a strong positive correlation to you passing the exam, right? So we've assessed all possible scenarios based on the marks we've received, based on the feedback we've received from students, right? That clearly shows higher the number of mocks you do, higher the marks you get. So there's a strong positive correlation between the number of mocks you attempt and the exam and your exam result, right? So what I always advise is, you need to do a minimum of 6 to 7 mock papers under exam conditions before trying your final exam. Remember that, right? Because that's going to give you a lot of learning, a lot of experience, a lot of hands-on learning, right? Sometimes you, rather than just reading the paper, when you really try to attempt it, when you really try to do it, you face a lot of problems. Timing, typing, right? Ideas are not coming to your mind. You are unable to arrange the information that you want to write, right? You go blank. You have to face all these things before you face them in the exam. If you had faced them earlier, and if you know, okay, if you talk to our team, talk to me, you know what you need to do next when you face a similar problem, right? So reality mocks is very important. You'll have about 10 mock papers, as I told you. You'll be allocated into groups and you'll be followed up on timely mock completion. And for about 4 mock papers, we give you personalized one-to-one sessions where you can, where I will also be part of the group. You'll be allocated to one of our team members, and you'll be in a direct conversation with regards to improving yourself in terms of what you have done in the mock paper. Right? So that's the most, I would say, that's the heart of our course. Everything depends on that mock exams that we do, the feedback sessions, right? Following you up on terms of timely mock completions. That's the heart of our course, right? So we always believe that higher the number of mocks you do is going to benefit you, but that the number of mocks you do should be a very productive, should be in a very productive way, right? You've got to learn from what you did previously when you're doing the next. It has to be a continuous improvement journey. You take 50 marks, you take 20 marks in the first mock, I'm fine. You take 10 marks in the second mock, that's a problem. You haven't learned anything, right? 20 to 30, likewise, it has to be a continuous improvement cycle, right? So learn from each and every mock paper you're doing, you're reviewing, right? So mock 1 we will do together in class, right? You and I will do together in class. I'll tell you, okay, the strategies in terms of getting your points, presenting your answer, what is the format you have to use, how many points you need to write, right? The content, the length, the quantity, quality, everything we'll be discussing, right? In terms of mock 1. Mock 2 onwards, you've got to put that into practice, right? Mock 2 onwards, you've got to put that into practice, right? So that's about reality mock examinations. That's, remember guys, as I told you, that's going to be the heart of what we're going to do during this course period, right? Any questions up to this point? Is everybody clear? Can I get a heads up on the chat box that you are clear? Any questions? Is everyone clear on the points I've discussed so far? Good. What about the others? Right, superb. So then we have something called deep dive. Now the pre-scene analysis that we do in class is given to you in a documented format. We call it the deep dive, right? So that will, in detail, it will cover many scenarios associated with the pre-scene, relevant theory areas that is relevant, that could turn up in terms of how we've related each and every element of the precinct to such to your E1, F1, P1, and other things we discuss in class, especially when it comes to the analysis part, which we'll be covering over the first 2 weeks. And then, most importantly, your refresh theory, right? So you have three subjects for operational level: your E1, F1, and P1. 90% of you are from the FSU, so don't worry. We are going to help you out. We are going to make sure you cover your theory so that you are able to address the questions asked in the examination. So before I continue, I'll take a small pause. We have Mr. Channa here with us. So he'll speak a few words and then we'll resume. So over to you.
Yeah, Mr. Mark, can you hear me or not?
Can hear.
Okay, so hi guys, good to see you all. I am just trying to give a very brief update. So basically, SEMA has taken a major turn of what it is over the period of time. So when I did SEMA many years ago, it was supposed to be the management accounting qualification globally, global management accounting qualification. Now it is not anymore. It is now a qualification that will build a proper CEO. It is not only about management accounting now. It is based on management accounting, but it is there to build a proper CEO. Uh, if you look at last 10 years, SEMA has removed all the theories that is available in the syllabus, included a lot of questions related to the latest technology. Even there is a change coming up from the next year that includes more and more of AI, IoT, and things like that, right? Uh, and more than that, a lot of theories that were included in the syllabus were taken out as well. So what I'm trying to tell you is, it is a mini MBA. It is there to build a CEO. So at our vision is the same. Nanaska's vision is Nanaska's vision is the same. We are here to build global leaders. We are not here to build finance directors. We are here to build global leaders. So our vision, our purpose of Nanaska is very much aligned with what SEMA wanted to do. So therefore, we are very happy that these two objectives are aligned. Therefore, we are working hard to ensure our purpose is achieved. So SEMA's purpose is achieved. Um, I get involved mostly for the MCS and SCS. I am the chairman for Litrogas and I am the executive director for Dankodo Porcelain. So I get involved with lot with the private sector, public sector, and I'll come and share our views, my views as well. And at Nanaska, we want to ensure you pass the exam, but that's not good enough. So we have a lot of other programs coming in free, like Your Life is Your Life. Last week we had a session for all our old students about the how AI changed the finance function. That session was there last week. I mean, if you do go to the our Facebook page, you will be able to see that even. So what I'm trying to say is, we are here to ensure you become a proper leader, right? So I thank you for you all. I thank all of you all for joining today. Please come and join with the OCS session. You can contact me at any time if you have any trouble. My number will be displayed by Mr. Ma. But all the very best for the new journey that you are starting. It is a perfect journey for you all. It will make a difference in your life when you are qualified, because SEMA is a very different organization. So I wish you all the very best. Contact me whenever you want, and all the very best. Bye. Mark, will you take over?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Right. So continuing from where we left off, right? So refresh theory. Now that is something very critical for your case study examination. Why? Because if you look at the context of your case study, it will be about, I would say, 60% of your paper will be from your theory, or you got to know your theory to answer at least 60 to 65% of your paper. The balance 30 to 35%, yes, based on your practical applications, based on what you have learned in terms of your experience that you gained, yes, you can answer. But a majority of it, 60 to 65%, is a majority. Majority of it, to answer, you have to know your theory thoroughly. E1, F1, P1. Right? Now, that is something very important, very critical for you to address. So start today. Right? Have a proper study plan. Make sure you cover all the topics in advance. Make sure you're conversant with all the theory areas so that you are able to tackle and answer such questions. So that you are able to tackle and answer such questions. Right? So remember, refresh theory is something that is very critical. Then insights by industry experts. Right? So we'll be doing KYI. So as Chandra sir mentioned, we'll be having a few on and off discussions as well. One-to-one discussions is what I told you when you do your mock exams, where you will have a few one-to-one sessions to about 4 mock papers, where you get to understand your weak points and address them then and there, so that you are able to continuously improve, apply that cycle of continuous improvement in your journey to attempt mock papers. And then we'll also give you a possible issues document. What possible issues mean is possible scenarios examiner could come up on the exam day. That's the possible issue document. Plus, we have added something called KYT from last session, that is know your triggers. Right? Now, this is more towards from your past papers. Right? This is more towards from your past papers. What has been tested in the past, you are being given a summary by subject, by topic. If it's budgeting, okay, what are the questions that has come? Forecasting, questions that have come. Variance analysis, questions that have come. Leases, questions that have come. Likewise, it's segregated into topics and sessions based on what has already come in the exam in the past. Right? Maybe in the past 1 or 2 sessions. So that's called know your triggers. That's something very important for you to have a hands-on, have an understanding on. Then you know you have covered your KYT, you have covered your possible issues, right? And if you have covered your mock papers, you know about 90 to 95% of what is coming on the exam day, you already know. Trust me, that has been the learning for us over the past numerous batches that we've done, and that has been the feedback as well. So you go through your KYT, you go through your possible issues, and you go through your 10 mock papers. 90% of what is coming on the exam day, you already know it. Why I say so is because based on past experience as to how the real exams have turned out, based on the feedback we've got from students. So if you have done these 3 elements properly, right, with proper intent, right, with the objective of grasping that knowledge, right, getting to know things and making sure you have a proper systematic approach to put them out on the exam day, you are safe. Right? So if you know these, if you do these 3 elements properly, right, trust me, about 90% of what's coming on the exam day is covered. So we always try to anticipate how the examiner's thinking would be on the exam day. That is why we do so many possible issues, mocks, KYTs, to all of it. Right? But for those 3 to complement each other, you should have your theory and the pre-seen knowledge with you. You need to have the theory and the pre-seen knowledge with you. So if I summarize, right, if I summarize, for you to be confident in terms of making sure you are ready for the exam, I want you to focus on 3 main things. First one are your mock papers. What do mock papers do? They help you to familiarize yourself with the exam engine, with what could turn up on the exam day. So it's basically a practice session of your exam, right? And then your possible issues. This will cover, okay, there'll be certain duplications in mock papers, in possible issues also, but there'll be, most of it will be genuine issues, again, that could be questioned from you on the exam day. Then your KYT, know your triggers, right? So if you are able to cover these 3 properly and in a timely manner, you know about 90% of what's coming in the exam, right? You know about 90% of what's coming in the exam. But for you to do these things thoroughly and properly, I see 2 foundations that you've got to lay. 2 foundations that you've got to lay. One is your KYP and the KYI. You need to have an understanding of the company, of the industry, right? Plus, you need to know your refresh theory. That is your F1, E1, and your P1. So if you lay this foundation right, you should be able to conquer this very easily. So your approach has to be bottom up. Your approach has to be bottom up, right? So this is your foundation. Remember, this is the foundation that you have to lay. This is the foundation that you have to lay. So the foundation, you can already start laying your foundation, because start with your refresh theory. Make sure you are confident with all your refresh theory subjects. Then yes, upon you getting access to the LMS, you will have access to the know your pre-scene and know your industry. Put them together, right? Learn about the company, know about the company, right? And then make sure you are confident about the pre-scene, right? Then you know you are confident about the theory. Put these two together, do the mock papers properly, review the possible issues document, review the KYT document. 90% of what's coming for the exam you already know. Trust me, that's going to be the process, right? So use this as a framework that you got to that should guide you in preparing yourself for the examination. So this has to be the framework that will guide you in preparing yourself for the examination. So is everybody clear with this? So 3 things that you have to do for you to anticipate at least 90% of what's coming for the exam. Your mock papers, you have 10 mock papers, remember that. Possible issues document, and the know your triggers. Know your triggers is based on the past papers. What came in the past, right? What are the triggers that came in the past? What are the variants that came in the past? We have summarized it for you to facilitate a smooth learning experience. If you do those 3 things, yes, you know what's coming for the exam. But for you to do those 3 effectively, properly, with the right intent, you got to have the foundation laid well. The foundation is your knowledge of the pre-scene and the industry, and your refresh theory. So out of these 2, I would rate both of them 50-50. So your foundation has to be strong, equally allocated between your KYP, KYI, and your refresh theories, right? As I told you, easily I could say about 60 to 65% of your exam is based on what? Is based on your theory. So therefore, it's very critical that you properly follow them. And then rest from your pre-scene and from the practical elements, from the experience you have, it's what you can write. The balance 30 to 35%. But this is something very, very critical. 60 to 65% is a high majority. So make sure you are confident and conversant with your theory. So use this framework, and this framework should guide your exam preparation. So is everybody clear on this? Did you all understand what I'm trying to say? Did you all understand what is expected from you and the approach that you've got to take in preparing yourself for the exam? Am I clear on that, guys? Yes, no? What about the others? Good. So take a note of it, right? This has to be your framework that has to guide you in preparing yourself, right? So this is a snapshot of what our KYP looks like. So our company is half penny. You know, our product is bread. So this will have end-to-end details of what the company is about, its products, the financials, the company structure, hierarchy, right? All of that. So it's a summarized version of your pre-scene. So now what I want you all to do today is, I've already shared the pre-scene document with you. Read it once today. Take time. You have some time after the session. I'm not going to take too long today, right? From next week onwards, yes, I'll be taking some time, but not today. So take some time. Read the entire pre-scene document, right? So next week, once you register, you get access to the LMS. You can download your KYP. Go through that. So when you come for next week's sessions, you are prepared, right? When you come for next week's sessions, you are prepared, you know a little bit about the company. Any questions, yes, you can clarify then and there. We're going to have a very interactive approach in class. I'm going to ask questions, you're going to give your suggestions, right? There are certain things I might miss, I might not see it from my viewing angle, which you might see. Bring them up, let's have a very productive discussion, let's have a very interactive session starting from next week, right? You are almost free to express your ideas, recommendations, what you think of, to all of that, right? So therefore, let's take it collectively, collaboratively, so that you are, so that everybody is able to make it a good learning experience rather than make Sunday evening a boring session, right? So let's make it productive. And also KY, I will cover certain industry elements. It is just a snapshot of some content in the KYI. So it talks about the market, the compound annual growth rate, the trends, the drivers of demand, what are developing in the industry, what is the type of bread that is gaining momentum in terms of demand. Right now, you have the vegan categories improving, right? Then artisanal breads, right? More towards the healthier side, right? Because now we see the health conscious customers, the number of health conscious customers are increasing at a rapid pace. So we've got to align our products so that it'll meet their requirements, right? So we'll understand by product, by form, by distribution channel, how it is sold, then how do we sell, what are the best practices of the industry, how can we overcome the challenges, how can we foresee any challenges that we might face, so that we have mitigatory action plans with us to overcome such. So all of that is part of the discussion in the KYI, right? All of that is part of the discussion in the KYI, right? So that's just giving you a glimpse of what you will see in the KYP and the KYI, right? So we'll also talk a little bit about some real world applications. So you see some real world company brands that are very similar to us. So out of that, we've selected Bimbo Bakeries, and we've done a detailed review of Bimbo Bakeries. So you can search it and see, go through their websites, go through their social media sites, get an understanding what that company is like, how do they do the operations, what are their sales channels, right? What sort of products they sell, what sort of marketing campaigns do they do, what sort of promotions do they run. Because I mean, it's not like a perishable, it's not like a FMCG or FMCD we are talking about. We are talking about food, we are talking about products that are expiring very soon, right? So therefore, we've got to be very specific about things specific to this industry, because most of the generalized things, generalized approaches may not be the best things, may not be the best practices that we could suggest to the examiner in this case, right? So therefore, go through the KYI as well. It will talk about Bimbo Bakeries, a review of it, along with a SWOT analysis. What are their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? So what we should try to do is, based on the SWOT, based on the understanding you have about that company, you need to map where we are. If they are at a higher level, if we are at a lower level, and maybe, for example, we don't sell via website, we don't have online sales, maybe they are having it. So in that sense, they are higher than us. So how can we reach this standard of excellence? How can I bridge this gap and take half penny to this level? Should be what you are questioning. How can I take my company to this level? That's what you have to be concerned, argue about. So that is why the KYI is given to you, right? You've got to establish, okay, in the industry, what is the best practice, what is the standard of excellence, what is the trend that is going to, am I there? If not, what can I do to take myself there? How can I bridge this? Sort of a benchmarking exercise. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm sure this industry is going to be new to almost all of you. Even it's new even to me, right? I'm also still learning. So let's have a very productive discussion around these areas as well, so that sometimes there are certain eye openers, there are certain products that we don't even know exist in the bakery industry. in the bakery industry, right? So what we all know is when you go to an international buffet, you see some, bread rolls and small buns next to your soup. You have it along with your soup, you eat it, that's it. No, there is a lot more beyond that, right? Or you see the daily sandwich bread that we use at home for our breakfast sometimes, or for our dinner sometimes. That's about it. There are various types of specialty breads, artisanal breads, organic breads, vegan breads, plant-based breads, right? That we've got to have an understanding on, right? So it's going to be interesting. So you also do your research on your own, right? You have YouTube, you have social media. Do some research on your own. Just take a look at a few videos on the bread production process, right? Just look at a few commercials as to how they market their breads. What sort of advertisements are run? Are they marketing the product? Are they marketing a story? Are they marketing an experience? Just get some understanding, right? So all these things are going to complement together, complement with each other, so that you have a wider understanding when you are writing your answers. You have a wider understanding when you are writing your answers, right? So let me summarize, or let me give you a glimpse of what an exam question would look like. So I hope everybody can see the screen. Right now, this is a sample question that I wanted to quickly go through. Now, this is what your exam would look like. This is just one section. So you will have 4 sections in your examination paper. So let me highlight that as well. So your exam paper will consist of 4 sections. How long will you get? You get 3 hours. That is 45 minutes per section, right? And you will be marked out of how much? Marked out of 150. Marked out of 150. So each section, now this is a section. This is one section. This is section 1, right? So likewise, you will have 4 sections. Sometimes under this section, you will have some reference materials, some additional materials for you to refer in supporting your answer, right? Here you can see reference material 1. Likewise, there will be certain references as well for you to get an understanding or use that information in your answers, right? Otherwise, it will be 4 sections, 3 hours, 45 minutes per section, and your exam paper will be marked out of 150, and you've got to get a minimum of 80 marks to pass, right? It's about 53 plus. You've got about 80 marks to pass your examination, right? So in terms of time management techniques, tools that we have to use, we'll discuss in detail when we do the mock 1 review. I'll tell you how you need to approach it, right? But for now, just have a general understanding of how your exam would look like, right? So can you take about 2 minutes quickly, read this question, see whether you're, I mean, this is about, you have some F1 and E1 in this question, right? I'm sure most of you are aware about it. So just give it a try. I'll give you about 2-3 minutes. Take some time, read it, see whether you are able to tackle a question like this. Yeah, so quickly start reading now. Right. So if you quickly take a glance at it, so you're finalizing the quarterly financial statements. Just ignore the dates, guys. So two events have happened in Jan. So you're trying to finalize the quarterly statements of December, right? First one is there is a fire that happened in the 5th of January that damaged inventory, and the event two is about raw material suppliers has paid us in settlement of a legal case we had taken out against them. So two events have happened. So what is the examine asking you? Explanation of how the two events identified will affect the financial statements. Now, can you tell me quickly? Event 1, event 2. Is this a just... Okay, first of all, the standard tested here. What is the standard tested here? Anybody? Is anybody aware of the standard accounting standard that is tested here? What is the accounting standard that is tested here? Yes? What is the standard tested here? IAS 10, very good. Events after the reporting date. Two things can happen. It could be an adjusting event or a non-adjusting event. For it to be either of it, you ask a question. Now, what is that question? Is there evidence of existence at the reporting date? Very simple question. Is there evidence of existence at the reporting date? Reporting date is 31st December. Fire. Is there evidence of existence at the reporting date? Yes or no? No. Then do you adjust or not adjust? Do you adjust or not adjust? You don't adjust. It's a non-adjusting event. So remember, this is a non-adjusting event. You simply say that to the examiner and you justify why it is non-adjusting, because there is no evidence of existence at the reporting date. It's a non-adjusting event. Next one, you are being paid in settlement of a legal case, right? You have taken it out against in September. Is there evidence of existence at the reporting date? Has it existed at the reporting date? Yes. If it has existed, what you do? You will adjust this. You will adjust this. Simple as that. So you have two subheadings, event 1, event 2. You say why it is non-adjusting. You say why it is adjusting. Simple. Then you go to the next. In addition to the above, few issues with a supplier of whey powder, just assume it as an ingredient, who is not conforming to standards, and there have been quality issues, non-conformance to quality standards, significant returns, delays, to whatnot. With this issue at the previous meeting, there was a proposal to assess the potential of a new supply so that the current issues are sorted. Looked at some financial information and some working capital days. So you don't see the reference material, but just take an understanding of the question. So what is the question? Suggest 3 KPIs to establish to monitor performance of suppliers. Please include a justification why that you why the KPI you suggest is appropriate. So you have to tell 3 KPIs, why that KPI is important. Why is it relevant in the current context? Next question. Explain the working capital position. You don't have that material. Any risks associated with this position that might affect our decision if we use them as our supply. So let's quickly discuss 3 KPIs. Let's not go through the third task because you don't have the table. Okay, tell me 3 KPIs to monitor performance of our suppliers. Very easy. What are KPIs we could use to monitor performance of our suppliers? The answer is there in the question itself. If you read it properly, try to get it from the question. How do you get the answer from the question itself? Now, Harshani, I want you to, and Kosal, I want you to clarify one thing. It's a KPI, key performance indicator. So how can quality, is quality a KPI? Is revenue a KPI, Dileka? Now, when you say KPI, it has to be something quantitative and measurable which shows progress towards a particular objective. Am I right? Right? A quantitative, measurable indicator that shows progress towards a particular objective. Again, inventory management system is not a KPI. Defect rate, yes, it is a KPI. On-time delivery, yes, it is a KPI. Working capital days, yes, that is a KPI. Be very specific, right? When you say a KPI, it has to be very specific, measurable, that shows progress towards the objective, right? Now, Ovidu, credit period, I agree with you, that is a KPI. But what is the question? KPIs to monitor what? Suppliers' performance. Suppliers' performance. Is he agreeing to your specifications? Is he delivering the product of the right quality? Is he delivering the product on time? Are there any delays from him? Is he responding to you and resolving your queries? Now, that is supplier performance. Am I right? So if you put this KPI, you will be getting maybe the minimum marks, not the maximum marks. Why? Question examiner is very specific on supplier performance, KPI. So be very specific. So we'll be learning a lot of things like this in class, right? So when you talk about a KPI, remember it has to be quantitative. It has to show progress towards a particular objective. Now I told you, yes, lead time is a KPI. Very good. I told you that you can take the answer points from the question itself. How do you do that? Now understand the problems. Not conforming to the standards. Quality issues. Significant returns. Delays in delivery. Production holds up and delays. Now these are the problems we are facing. You got to come up with a KPI to address these problems. That is when you can justify and say, look here, my KPI is 100% appropriate to the current situation we are facing. Not conforming to quality standards, we can say defect rate. We can say quality inspection score. Right? Delays in delivery, we can talk about lead time, on-time delivery. Number of returns, we can have a KPI as number of returns itself. Higher the number of returns, poor performance. Lower the number of returns, your performance is relatively good. Right? So you can take it from the problems itself and say, look here, these are the problems we are facing. So these are the KPIs I propose, which is why the KPIs are justifiable and appropriate to the context, to the unseen given. Am I clear? Did you all understand? It's going to be interesting. You all are going to learn. I'm also going to learn. So that's fine. We all can make mistakes. But the most important thing is how we learn and apply going forward. So now you know what a KPI is and how you specifically address the examiner's requirement. How you specifically address the examiner's requirement. So that's a quick sample question which I've taken you through that might pop up on the exam day. Right. So before I conclude, I'll give you a quick overview of our case study. Right. So as I told you, I've already given you the critical success factors and the frameworks that you've got to know in passing this exam or in preparing yourself better for this exam, right? So therefore, please, this framework has to be your guiding principle. Along with that, your theory, as I told you, it will cover about 65%. Practice mock papers. Then what is words per minute? That is your typing speed. This is your typing speed. Remember that, right? This is your typing speed. Right? So typing speed, what I always say, keep a minimum of 35 words per minute. Right? WPM, keep it at a minimum of 35. So how do you come to 35? First, take 10 minutes, type and track what is your WPM. It might be 20, it might be 25, it might be 30. Next, at least thrice or 2 times or 3 times a week, take a newspaper, type it, right? So that you increase your WPM. Higher the speed, you are having that advantage. So higher the speed, better. Pre-seed know-how is your foundation, I told you. Again, possible issues is all your critical success factors. So I'm showing the framework again. So it's a summary of this that I have shown there in terms of how you've got to pay attention on what are areas that you've got to focus on so that you anticipate at least 90% of what's coming for the exam in advance. Accordingly, you prepare yourself. Right? You can't see the screen. Why? I've shared the framework. Others also, you can't see the whiteboard? Can't see or can see? What do you mean by yes? Can't see. Why is that? Can you see now? I think from your end you can scroll. You need to scroll from your end and come to that point. Yeah? You can scroll the whiteboard from your screen and come to the topmost point. So I'm at the beginning. Now okay? Right. So take note of this. So this is going to be a framework. The foundation is going to be the pre-seed know-how and your refresh theory. And if you are thorough with, if you do your no mock papers, possible issues, and the KYT properly, you are good and you are confident enough. You are able to anticipate about 90% of what's coming for the exam. So prepare yourself accordingly. Align your studying plan, align your work to this framework. Right? Good. So remember, guys, in that 65% of the theory, I have broken it down by subject. So majority of it, where will it be coming from? 55% will be coming from your P1. Then equally E1 and F1. About 20-25% equally from your F1 and E1 will be the next in line. But majority of your theory questions of that 65%, a higher majority will be from your P1. Your budgeting, variance analysis, break-even analysis, relevant costing, linear programming, forecasting, all of that will be coming from your P1. So majority of your theory will be from your P1. Then from your F1 and E1 also equally you will be getting questions. F1 mostly will be your accounting standards. You will have no, you are not allowed to copy and paste. Yeah. So F1 you will have a few accounting standards like IAS2 inventories. Let me type it. So in F1 your accounting standards that you have to be familiarized, that you have to be familiar is where is this? Oops. IAS2, IAS10, IAS16, IAS36, IAS7, IFRS 5, IFRS 16. So can you quickly name these standards? What are they? IAS2 is for what? IAS2 is for what? Yes, IS2 is inventory. Very good. IS10 is for? IS10 is for? We looked at it, right? In a sample question. Events after the reporting period. Events after the reporting period. Then IAS 16. What is IAS 16? IAS 16 is your property, plant and equipment. What is IAS 36? What is IAS 36? Anyone? Very good. IAS 36 is your impairment. What is IAS 7? IAS 7 is your statement of cash flows. IFRS 5 is what? What is IFRS 5? Very good. Non-current assets held for sale. And what is IFRS 16 on? IFRS 16 is on leases, right? So these are the accounting standards that you have to be thorough and familiar with, which the examiner will test you in terms of F1. In terms of F1, right? So know the weightage. Know the weightage. Majority of your theory will be from your P1, then equally from your F1 and E1 as well, right? So this is an overview of the framework and the critical success factors that is needed, that is required, that you need to put in, that you need to work around in passing this exam, and then finally you got to have a study plan. So as I told you, we'll give you a target in the particular week, a particular number of mock papers to be completed. So you'll be given a class schedule in advance. What are the days that we are planning classes? Then you will be having one-to-one and feedback sessions as well. So that is our plan for you, and that is what we will do in class. So by now you know what is expected from you based on the framework I showed you, and the amount of effort and commitment you put in will define whether you will pass or fail. So I want everybody to be on the passing side. So please, let's have a proper schedule, proper plan for the next 7 weeks. Have a collaborative approach, interactive approach in getting through this exam. So it's not a tough task, right? Many are passing this OCS exam without a problem, but it's how you, the effort you put in, the commitment you put in, the level of intent you have is what that's going to define, and that's what going to make things easy for you to in preparing yourself for this exam. So keep that in mind. Start working now. Start work on your refresh theory from today onwards. Read the precinct today, right? Do some research on your own on the bakery industry. What is it like? Competitors, similar companies to that of Halfpenny. So do the research on your own. That way you're going to get a vast amount of knowledge that will complement with what you learn in class, to apply it on the exam day and to apply it starting from your mock papers even, right? So that's it from me. So before I conclude, any questions? You are free to ask questions on any doubts or whatever you may have on what we discussed, any clarifications. If you are clear, you can say you're clear. If not, please ask any questions if you may have any. Now the time is yours. Yes? If you are clear, you can say you're clear. So if not, if you have a question or clarification regarding what we discussed, regarding the course, regarding the institute, please do ask. Good. What about the others? All clear? Classes will be 90% online, and there'll be about 1 or 2 hybrid sessions based on the students' availability. So it's hybrid. So even though it's physical, there'll be an online part as well. It will be streamed online as well. So it's hybrid. No grammar issues, right? Marks are not reduced for grammar and spellings as long as the examiner is able to read and understand what you have written. There will be no penalizations on grammar and spellings. Remember that. Any other questions? What about the others? Is everybody clear? So I've shared the pre-scene with you. Download it, read it once today. Start working on your refresh theory, and we'll meet again next Sunday to start off with the Bayesian analysis, right? So take note of the framework I've shared with you as well. That's something very important that you've got to know in terms of preparing yourself for the exam. So let's work around these lines so that you are comfortable in passing the exam. So that you are comfortable in the exam. No, 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 no. Now, in the case study exam, you get one section, right? So you take 45 minutes, do it. Then you go to the next. You can't come back. It's a one-way traffic, right? Let's say you finish it in 30 minutes. You have 15 minutes left. That 15 minutes is gone. If you click next and go to section 2, that 15 minutes will not get carried forward. It's gone. So take 45 minutes, take the entire time, do that particular section and go to the next section. You can't, there is no reverse in case study exams. It's all one-way traffic. All what you do is you have to go forward. You can't come back. Once you complete a section and go, time is also lost. That section is also lost. Right? Even if you do fast and save 10-15 minutes, that doesn't get carried forward to the next sections. It's 45 minutes per section strictly. You finish in 30 minutes and go to the next, again it will be from 0 to 45. That 15 won't get carried forward and you won't get 60 minutes for the section 2. No. Time you save is lost. So take maximum use of the 45 minutes for each section. Do it comprehensively, thoroughly, review it. Then you go to the next. Because you can't come back. It's one-way traffic. Is that clear, Charya? Good. Any other questions you want me to answer? All good? It will automatically finish. So after 45 minutes, your screen will close and then you will be directed to the next section. Yes, you have to allocate time because each task, now let's say this section 1, right? Let's say section 1. Now in this, let's take our sample question. This one. Now this has 3 questions or 3 subtasks. Let me clear the screen. You see 3 subtasks, am I right? Under each subtask, you have a time allocation or you have a mark allocation. Can you see? 34%. So equally, you have to allocate for this task. Sometimes it might be 40, 40, 20. It could be 60, 30, 10. So you'll be getting a percentage of marks getting allocated for that particular task. Accordingly, you can split your time. Let's say out of 45 minutes, you take about 8 to 10 minutes to understand, mark the points and prepare. So let's say you have about 35 minutes to answer. That 35 minutes you can break into the number of tasks. It could be a minimum of 2 tasks, a maximum of 3, rarely 4 tasks. But majority is a maximum of 3. Accordingly, you can allocate that 35 minutes to those 3 tasks. Yeah. So based on that marks weightage only, you need to decide on allocating your time. After the 45 minutes is gone, your screen will automatically close and it will go to the next. Imasha, am I clear? Good. What about the others? Any other questions? Good. So good that you all are clarifying these things in advance so that you have that mindset from the start itself as to how you need to get about things, right? Good. Right. So with that, we can conclude today's introductory section. Yeah, you can take the exam at home, no problem. But what I always recommend is do it at the exam center. Unnecessary problems when you're doing at home, your connection goes off, your power goes off. There have been enough and more cases where students have not been able to retrieve what they have written after these problems. So to avoid all such, to avoid those risks, you'll be also having a free mind. Better do it at the exam centers. I always recommend doing it at the exam center because there you are risk free, right? You don't have all those problems there. There are people to take care, invigilators and system if there is a technical fault, they always they are to help you out. So if you're at home, you have to do everything by yourself. Unnecessary pressure. So might as well do it at the center. That's my personal recommendation. But I always tell when students ask whether to do it at home or at the center. Yeah, Chaminda? Good. You have the option to take it at home. If you are 100% confident, please go for it. But usually I recommend this to the students, right? So that everybody is safe. Right. So guys, thank you so much for joining today's session, and I'm hoping to see all of you in class next week. That is, we'll be kicking off our sessions on next Sunday with the present analysis. So upon registration, you get access to the LMS, plus you will get your class schedule as well. Right? So pleasure introducing the OCS and our coursework to all of you. Thank you. Good night. Have a great week ahead, and I'm hoping to see all of you in class next week. Bye-bye. You're welcome.